Hello viewers, welcome to the Inspiration Moment. I'm especially happy that I'll be having you tune in and hopefully be touched in ways that you didn't plan when you tuned in, right? The Inspiration Moment is a show that is taxed with that simple, vision of exploring one single sentence, which is the single moment you are inspired can change everything that comes next. We want to see if this is true with our guests, if this is true with many people all over the world who have spoken to, lived it out, and experienced the inspiration moment. If it is true for them, it is true for you. And we hope by the end of this segment, right, you are somebody who is already out there trying to make your inspiration a reality to our world. Thank you. I'll be right back after the break. All right, viewers, welcome back. Thank you for that short break and hanging on to see what comes next. We are still on this single task, the inspiration moment, and exploring that simple truth. The single moment you are inspired can change everything that comes next. Now, with me here is my co-host, Mr. Joshua, and Mr. Joshua, welcome to the inspiration moment.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm excited to be here. I know it's an amazing moment, and I am so honored to be part of this great stirring up for people. I call it a stirring up because to me, inspiration is beyond just an idea. It is what sets the ball rolling. It's what builds the skyscrapers. It's what achieves all the glory and the glam. Inspiration is beyond just a word. It's a force, it's a movement, and I'm honored to be part of this.
And today, it's beautiful to see that skyscraper in its humble beginning through the story of our guests today. But before we do that, I want us to take a look at people who have gone ahead, who have done amazing things with their inspiration, particular point in their inspiration, what stood out to them, what they are speaking about it today, because not having this as a conversation going on and on in circles, especially with friends, with family, with co-workers, and with senior colleagues, is the reason why a lot of complaint is everywhere, and a lot of beauty is missing in the awesomeness called life and living being alive, right? Especially in Nigeria. So let's quickly take a look at a man I've come to love. I've seen a lot of his work on TV, and to hear the behind the scene, right, in the show, in the Graham's show, is something that I think we should look at today, talk a little about it before we introduce you to our guests. Let's watch that right now.
I had that 4 a.m. in my solitude on my own truth that hit me. It lands like a butterfly and strikes like a lightning bolt at the same time. That truth that you go, okay, tomorrow when the sun comes up and I'm back in the masses and all of the world's coming at me and all those offers, I need to remember this truth. Now, I've been trying to get dramas and was even offering huge pay cuts. And they're like, no, stay in your lane, McConaughey. You're the rom-com guy. You got that down. Mind you, I enjoyed him, but I was wanting to do something different. Yeah. Because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I said, I got to stop doing what I'm doing. So I said, no more rom-coms. Called the agent, said, let the town know. It's not going to happen. I went to Texas. Camilla's pregnant. I'm on the ranch, quiet down there. Camilla says to me, look, you don't know how long it's going to be dry, how long you're going to not go with work. This could go on, but this is non-negotiable. We're not going back. I was like, not going back. Now, a year goes by. Nothing. I call my agent. He goes, Matthew, I haven't even heard your name in 6 months. I'm like, okay. I may have just wrote myself a one-way ticket out of Hollywood. I start to think about other vocations, school teacher, wildlife guide. Maybe I'll go back to law school, all right? 18 months go by. I really think I've done it. I'm out. I get this romantic action comedy. It comes with an $8 million offer. I read it. I pass. I say, no, thank you. Comes back with a $10 million offer. I said, no, thank you. Comes back with a $12 million offer. I said, no, thank you. It comes back with a $14.5 million offer. I said, let me read that thing. Yeah. Same words as the $8 million offer, but it was better. It was funnier. I could see myself in it. This could work, right? But I ultimately said no.
That must be so hard to say no.
It was, but saying no to it, I think sent a little invisible message to Hollywood. Oh, McConaughey's not bluffing. We were talking about not flinching,
Yes.
not asking permission. Oh, he's playing offense. He's not just doing nothing. He's playing. He's on to something. And 20 months, 2 months after I turned that down, the offers came in that I was looking for, and they came in droves. It went Killer Joe, Mud, The True Detective, Dallas Buyers, Magic Mike. They came in everything I was looking for, and I would not have. They would not have come in if I wouldn't have unbranded for that 20 months.
Yes.
All right. Now, Dwayne, you didn't have to unbrand. You had enough steam going. I can make whatever choice I want, and I'm going to make this happen over here. It was a time for me where I had to unbrand, and it took 20 months. But then I was doing, and all of a sudden my work was challenging the vitality of my life. I was like, there we go. Yeah.
So cool.
I know, absolutely.
All right, welcome back to the studio, and it's been amazing. Mind-blowing testimony to this thing called the inspiration moment. Mr. Joseph, what can you say to this video and what
I'm still
Matthew
stunned.
was
I'm
revealing
still
to us?
stunned that someone could say, I'm pursuing this. I'm no longer going to divert from what I want to have. I'm going for what I want. And they are willing to let go of whooping sums just to get it. It's mind-blowing just to imagine that he was willing to let go of... Do you know what's happening? Do you know what we're talking about? 14 months, 18 months, 20 months. Hunger is real. Someone who is on this part of life, everything about the standard of their life would be expensive, and you need to sustain life. He has a family. He has to deal with all the realities and everything. And this is the only thing he does. So imagine sustaining himself. Every other thing will just stare in the face and jack you by the shirt and say, hey, you better go back to what pays and not just what you want. But someone was willing to say, I will stick to this part, even if it means going down. I must get what I want. That's amazing.
I think that's beautiful. What he did, the courage in him was crazy. But then there's something else he spoke to. He said when it got to the 18th month, right around when he did he rejected the offer, he said something invisible happened. It's part of that thing I say about inspiration. There is a lot it will do for you if you have really caught it. That you don't have to do for yourself. I mean, who do you go to really convince that you've picked a new direction? And this is what is stuck with you, and you are convinced down to your bone that this is what it is. If inspiration doesn't go into that place and do something invisible for you, right?
True, very true.
I mean, that's crazy. What do you think about that?
I tell you, there are a whole lot of people today that I think are even in our very world today, most people are doing not what they want to do, but what life has pushed to them. And that is the same thing that we see playing out. And most people's inspirational moments, or whatever it is that they thought or they believe is what they are meant to be doing, they are not doing. And you see some people, I was talking to an elderly person some time back. He's over 70. And he told me, he said, I have lived, I have touched money, I have done all this, but I don't think I have really lived my life. Because I have spent my life trying to train my children, trying to do this, trying to do that, just to survive. But I have not really lived my purpose. I've not really done the things that I wanted to do in life. I had money. So money, inspiration is not all about money. It's not all about this. And now you can see someone telling you, this is not what I want to do. And for people to really take me serious and to believe, he had to take a drastic step. He said he sent a shockwave. He sent a message. That silent moment did something that people now believe that this guy is not who we thought he is. he really is onto something.
So you see, with inspiration, everything is a tool for you.
Everything.
Your patience, your
Yes.
waiting, your actions, every single thing, because of course you can now rely that the other part that you can do
Yes.
for yourself can get into action.
Of course.
And start doing something for you.
Yes.
And that brings us to our guest today.
Yes.
She is
Yes.
a phenomenon, right? A phenomenon, sir. And I have watched her do her thing.
I agree.
Is mind blowing.
I agree.
The way she switches up in front of the camera is still a mystery to me, right? And it's beyond the imagination. She is the chief correspondent of AFIA TV, and she's the show host for AM show and the producer.
Wow.
And I'm hoping that today, right, in this segment, right, she brings us into these dark patches of inspiration. We're hoping that today she speaks to this mystery.
Yeah.
This thing, you could see that there was a real fear of never making it back into Hollywood.
True.
Right? There was, which is also what holds people back from taking a leap of faith, right?
Yeah.
There's a real fear of never being taken serious again. There's a real fear of, it could go both ways. Turning down 14.5 could tell somebody that this is a very unserious person.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So we see that something switched. We hope she tells us, she walks us into her life, her journey, and tells us this beautiful thing that we know happens to people who have chosen the path of their inspiration moment.
Yeah.
So let's introduce our guests to the audience.
Okay.
Joining us now is the guests, the phenomena, the inspiration, the chief correspondent of AFIA TV, and also the TV show host for AM show, and the producer, Miss Nathalie. We are happy to have her here.
Yes.
And we'll give her the floor to tell us who she is and speak to. Correct us if you have missed.
No. Let's have the introduction. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Moxie, for having me on your program. I must say I'm super proud of you. I've seen you talk about this program. You know, you've tried so hard to express yourself and what you really want people to understand, and seeing it all materialize, today, live and direct, like, it's amazing. Super proud of you. I think the major inspiration moment here is actually yours, right? And it's great that you've been able to put it in a nutshell and create a program to help other people out there.
And she's trying to turn us into the
Difficult thing.
I'm inspired, I've listened and I'm just super inspired by your story.
All right. Thank you so much for the privilege to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
To shed some light on this whole thing called inspiration. It requires us taking a walk into vulnerable parts of your life, because inspiration, as you could see from the video, can take you down to the ranch in Texas, keep you there for 20 months, and keep you looking like you were stupid, and still somehow makes you the king.
Yeah.
And the one who is celebrated for doing, something that is hard to connect, right? So we want you to speak to that. We want you to let us see who Nathalie was before
all of this.
The AM show, before broadcast. Who is Miss Nathalie?
I like as you asked the question, because as the both of you spoke, I was already thinking of different aspects of things that have inspired me. But listening to you ask the question now, I'm actually going farther back in time, right? Okay. So, inspiration. I think it goes hand in hand with value and belief.
Okay.
And the third prong is your environment. So, growing up, I truly was not number one in anything I was doing. I just saw myself as part of the flock, just going to school, coming back, do my assignment or not do my assignment, and really didn't bother me because I wasn't the people in the front on the front row in class.
Okay.
So it continued that way, and same thing continued up to primary 6, junior secondary school. Then senior secondary school came, and I changed my environment. I went to another school. I was still a boarder anyway. And I started to surround myself. In fact, they came to me. They chose me as their friend because the crowd was different. They were more inspiring people who seemed to really care about the way I was coming from, Enugu to Lagos, and they just were enthused by new students, and we started getting chatty. I saw how they would study, would share books, would read. Then I started doing what I tell people to do, exercise their brain, which is when you basically see your brain as a muscle that needs to be exercised. Because if you don't exercise, you don't eat, your muscles will start to fade. Same thing with the brain. So I started to study more, and automatically my value started increasing because my brain muscles were expanding and I was becoming more receptive to new information. Unlike before, when I would find it so hard to comprehend. Comprehension was the real problem. I understand it there, but I would not be able to recall it later because perhaps I just crammed it. So I started to really understand. And as my brain continued to exercise, I found myself building value. Then JAM came, wrote my exam, and I did very well, right? Really, really well, impressively well, something I probably would never have done from JS3 downwards.
Okay.
And I realized that no one is really special. Nobody is special. You see people on the screen now, and you probably wonder, people watching us now would say, these people, they are extraordinary. They just fell from heaven. Let them not break out into a song. They just dropped from heaven and they are here. They are better than me. It's not true. Because the same blood that flows in my veins also flows in yours, you as you're watching this. But how much are you exercising those muscles? Because the more you give that muscle the food it needs, it could be exercise, it could be your food, it could be reading, studying and trying to know, the more it gets better and then your value increases, right? So away from academics, let's now go to the small business I started when I finally gained admission into UNN. I decided I wanted to start baking, right? So during the holiday, I would bake cakes and I would bake my cake, and I thought they were really ugly because I'll go online and see the likes of Chipsy's Oven, Kitchen Pastries, Carlos Bakery, and their cakes were so beautiful, but mine I would ice and maybe I'll be hiding it to take the picture because I didn't want the dents to show. So I continued scraping the icing, continued baking, and I was exercising my hand-eye coordination. I didn't know. The more I scraped the icing, the smoother I got, the less I scraped the cake off in a bit to smoothen icing. And I started to see my cakes become more like the Chipsies and the Kitchen Pastries and the Oven and Butter, let me add a third one, and Carlos. And I realized that I was exercising my coordination. Then I got into AFIA TV. After I was about to move to Lagos, then I saw the ad and I applied here, got the job and started working here. And I'll do a couple of shows, the AM show. The first one was Men in Business, which I totally flunked. I don't know what I was doing and why I decided to use a teleprompter on the first day. It was a total mess. I looked so hideous and stupid because my eyes were not coordinating, right? And everybody was watching because that was like the first show we tried. So I was totally humiliated. Or the other day when we went to Opera Square and I stood under the sun and my brain was completely torched or fried before I did my intro. And I was wearing a blazer. I didn't think to remove it. It was just like a total mess. And I ran running back to my sister. I'm like, I made a total fool of myself at work today. They probably think I'm an idiot. That I forgot my lines and my brain was fried. So I felt like I couldn't do it. Then one day, Namdi, the general manager, said, we're about to go live on DSTV, you anchor the morning show.
Wow.
And I'm like, not the Opera Square girl, not the women in business girl that just, well. So we started to do some dry runs, right? And then he believed in my capacity. He would be in the control room making me laugh to the point like to really feel like I could do it. So the environment was favorable for me to grow and still is, right? But the reason that I could even become who I am today, even though I'm evolving, is because I continue to exercise my vocabulary, my retention. I try to read more, to engage in more conversations, going out, talking to people, because really I'm an introvert, but I actually practice social interaction. So now I can engage in anyone in a conversation because I've exercised my social skills. I didn't just go and say, oh, I'm an introvert and think I'm so special as an introvert. No, it's not special. You have to exercise your social skills. You have to exercise your retentive memory. How do you do that? By tasking yourself to remember. Don't just say, oh, I forgot. Make it a conscious effort to remember that thing on the spot. And then before I could say Jack Robinson, I realized that I could also be as good as those people out there on the other channels reading the news. So I took on the show Breakdown, and I knew I didn't have to use a teleprompter or anything, but I insisted I was going to do it and read those things because I wanted to exercise my coordination. Now my hands were coordinated, but then my eyes, I didn't want to be reading like that. So it's about realizing that it's about realizing that you are flesh and blood. You need to exercise those muscles. And as for the spirits, that's where the belief comes. Believing that you can just be as good as those people. So the inspiration moment for me came when I think I passed my JAM, flying colors, then when I became professional in my baking, and then also coming on the show and even being given this kind of recognition that you gave. But I'm not there yet, because there are still people I see and I'm like, God, when? So what am I doing? I will continue to exercise. I would never turn down an interview. I would always be there to speak and hope that one day I become like them. Then there was a pillow I had gotten from my dad years ago, and it had the bold inscription, professionalism. He had lots of words around it, but the major word there, which never peeled off in all the nights I hugged it while sleeping, professionalism. So each morning I woke up looking at it and saying, be professional. Professionalism. That's why I say it's about what you surround yourself with, not just the human faces, but also the paraphernalia you keep around yourself, the words you surround yourself with. So no matter what, people are like, oh, Nathalie, you're always put together, you know how to switch this, because there's a need to be professional. I'm someone that can't stand anything short of that in a corporate setting. You have to be professional. I'm not saying you don't have friends or do that, but when it comes to work, it means business. Because you can make a mockery of the whole thing if you think, it's shouldn't be professional, because then you're only as strong as the weakest link, which could be your capacity or your ability to interact with your team. So it's about building value, belief, and your environment.
Oh, nice. Wow. It was so beautiful to hear you talk about all of this. I'm so inspired by your story. Yeah, I want to ask, was there at any point in time that you saw yourself doing what you're doing now?
Actually, no, there was never a time, because at that time I was still struggling with the basic 2 + 2 and the 12 times table. I never would have thought. But you see, the more boundaries you break, the more your aspirations increase and your inspiration, because you understand that you can accomplish more. I cannot dream of living in a mansion if I don't even have a flat.
True.
So when you move into that flat because you've earned enough, probably you start thinking of getting this. You can't be thinking of having twins if you've not even had one. Right? So it's the more you are able to accomplish, the bigger your dreams. Right? It's like me sitting here and just shouting that, oh, in 2027, I want to be president. Do you understand? What I'm probably going to be looking at is my next promotion, what I want to be next year. So it's about, at the time, definitely no, I didn't see it at the time. But as time progressed, probably after the baking and all that, when I started to have broader vision, I now realized that it was actually possible.
Okay.
This particular journey is amazing because she speaks to exercise.
Of course.
She exercised her faith in herself. She exercised her skills. She exercised her abilities, capacities. Yeah. And the more it grew, the more she had results and promotion and all, right? But then there's this. You said you can't remember any exact time, and that is comforting to somebody, because we can't have people going about thinking it has to be about Einstein experience and apple falling from the tree, and you're wondering why didn't it go up, and why would you wonder whether it should go up? That's even what is surprising about that story, right? But you said it's an accumulation of victory after victory, of an eye-opening experience after eye-opening experience, right? Which is beautiful. But I want to ask, right? They don't seem to be a straight line from the last thing that gave you the courage and impetus to pursue the next thing and here right now. What stands out to you, and of course there are so many things that should have happened in your life, is the baking in school, right? You had the change of location from Enugu to Lagos for the boarding school. Then you see the timelines you are sketching for us.
Yeah.
Then you had from the school, from the change of location in the school to JAMB. And that was a huge result, really huge motivation for you. And then you had the school experience. What stands out to you the most is what you had to do with the baking, right? And the success and that realization, I can do as much as these other people that we look up to can do.
Yes.
Then we have from there to broadcast. That line.
So it's like the trajectory is just like...
That particular line is ridiculously strange. There's a mystery to that.
A mystery.
Can be
So the message is this. It doesn't matter what you're doing today. Perfect it. Because there are people who feel like they will abandon this task halfway and go to the next task. And then because they've not finished that, they go there and leave it halfway. Because your brain is trained, is developed to continue at that capacity you've trained it to continue. So the essence is this: you can always be versatile. Like I said, you can decide tomorrow you want to go into professional badminton. But how well have you done the one you're doing today? Because that is the only thing that would give you the skill you need to accomplish whatever it is you want to do. So baking, broadcasting, two completely different things. But what I knew and what I know is common with broadcasting, and I still practice now, is you must deliver the cake. It doesn't matter how dirty your apron is. It doesn't matter which baker you had to tell to leave before, probably someone that wasn't doing well. It doesn't matter the sweats, the sleepless nights. All the bride and groom want is the wedding cake. And it's the same thing with broadcasting. So you soon realize that it's the same thing you practice, it's the same commitment, the tenacity. Sometimes you ask yourself, why is it that the chef or the baker is always, agitated and always, the way they talk, like, okay, we can't do this, we're going to have to do it. It's because it's the intensity of it, all right? And you come to the broadcast house, you go to the control room, there's always, it's not much different because it's the professionalism. Once you can professionally execute this, if you decide tomorrow, Moxie, that you've learned how to use the control room equipment, you've learned how to present, and you want to become a pilot, then you need to go to school, get trained, go through the same grinding of teeth to increase your coordination, and then you can fly a plane. But if you can't put a show, if you can't sit down through a 2-hour show, how do you sit down through a 7-hour flight? So it doesn't matter. The thing is, we always think, this what I'm doing is not important, is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Why not today? If not now, when? If not now, when? You want another incomplete story that you hide in a box and just pretend like it never happened? I can speak about my bakery today because it became relatively successful, and that's why it's a part of my story. But if I abandoned ship when I was still making the ugly cakes, probably I'll be hiding that story. But I don't need to do that. So see every time of your life as an intentional time, because you are telling a story. You need to be able to look back and say, I did this from this time to this time. And employers will ask you too, what were you doing between this year and this year? I got into professional baking, right? And you have an explanation, not, I was waiting for my uncle who promised me a job in Onitsha and he did not come back. And so be intentional about now.
Can you imagine
that's
how baking at a point in your life can be it for you in the next point in your life? It's amazing.
And the whole concentration that she was able to give to this is now being applied to another, and all that is good. But I have a question, and this is very important for me. While you were speaking, I just kept asking myself, because there's always when one thing has to go, another thing you have to forgo some other things. what were the opportunity costs for you? What did you have to forego to become the person you are? Because we have plenty of people who have this whole bright ideas, but they are struggling between this and that, and trying to be here and trying to be there, and there are so many things all in their face at once. What did you have to forego to get to this point?
Just before she answered, and also it shouldn't just be the foregoing of something beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, when we speak about letting go, many people look at it as, okay, you let go of a bad thing,
Right.
a bad environment. Okay, that is probably a change you desperately need.
Yes.
But when you're living something you actually
That looks
love,
amazing.
I mean, look at Matthew, right? He was living rom-com and he loved it.
And he
was
was
good at
good.
it.
That guy is one of the best rom-com guys I know.
That's a big change. So
Yes.
to somebody working with inspiration, I mean, we have to know, like, because that story didn't tell us how much of a sacrifice that was for him, right?
Yes.
So when you were moving from that stage to the next one, because you got that relatively successful, right?
Yes.
What was that to you? What was that loss of a love of something you've invested in
Lagos,
to something that is
Enugu.
secret? I mean, something that
She was
is
supposed to go to
new.
Lagos also at some point.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that changing direction from Lagos
Exactly.
to staying, that's also something big.
So tell
Yeah.
us that story.
So it's the answer to that is time. Because you are investing time. And that is what you are foregoing. Because when you run your business, right, you're an entrepreneur, you can decide you want to sleep and start this tomorrow. No, you can't do that here. Because you're working with time that is separate, right? Okay. Another thing is to drop the know-it-all. Because when you're running your business, you can decide, oh, you know how to. Once you move into another establishment, you have to drop that because you don't know it all. In fact, it's a new terrain. So you have to be trainable or you lose your job, right? Then when it comes to the good things and you have to, I'll play up time because I've worked here for 3 years. That's 3 years of my life gone. I was younger when I got here. Probably had other ambitions, but I got here, right? You have I committed to give the time to the place. And that time could have been spent elsewhere. So that's why it's about making sure that time is not wasted time. When you live thinking that this is just an airport, you're still going to somewhere, you don't see this as the actual flight, you're creating wasted time.
I think the question is, the viewer want to know, what was that? I mean, how did you deal with that sacrifice? You were letting go of something that had worked for something that might work.
I didn't see it as a sacrifice because at the time I left my bakery, I didn't leave it because it's still part of me. But by the time I decided to transition, I felt like I was done with that stage. It wasn't a sacrifice because I felt like I was ready to move. So you need to be more aware of yourself and your body and your mind. The biggest room in life, like Daddy always said, is constant adjustments. Everything has a time stamp. The people, because there's an argument that comes up from time to time. Oh, how do you feel when you see someone that has worked in one place for 50 years, you travel and come back and she's still working there? I don't think, some people say it counts as success. Personally, I don't think so. Because for goodness sake, Moxie, you have to adjust. You need to know when it's time. Because you will go and explore other places and come back if you decided this was the best place for you and commit that training to advance the newcomers that are where you were. But when you stay there and you just become like furniture there, you lose time and you lose experience. So I was in my bakery and I realized, hey, you're working here, you know it all. My dad mentioned, but you need experience. And I realized I needed experience. I needed to understand what it meant to work in a corporate space. So I wouldn't expand my bakery. And they'll rub me blind because I wouldn't know how to keep a ledger. But now I'm working here and I could work in like 10 other places in the course of my life. And I would realize that all the skills would be taken to make the biggest bakery in Nigeria or in Africa. So at the end of the day, that's why I said I'm not leaving it. But I would choose which part of my life was the best and reinvest the skill of a traveling woman in where the journey started or where I transitioned to during the journey. So I believe it wasn't a sacrifice. It was me understanding that it was time to move on. You can't just sit down and become wood, plywood, because you feel like that is it. It's not it. Do you feel the yearning to go elsewhere? Do you want new terrain? Do you feel you can learn something here? Even in your career path, they want you to advance continuously, your training, your certifications. So it's you. If you feel like you're sacrificing, then maybe it's not time to leave. Maybe you're not done. Maybe there's a longing you still have there that you've not satisfied. Once you feel you're done and it's time to go, you would know. And it should be when the ovation is high, like that you have done so well. Because the danger of staying in a place when you are done is that you start to deteriorate, you start to become dead weight, you start to get burnt out, and at some point you would leave embarrassingly, in a way that's just like, oh, the woman or the man that was. You want to be the man or the woman that is, and carry that energy to the next place, and not when you are so, because once your ambition starts to die, you're going to bring that dead weight to where you are. So it's time to adjust. It's time to change the environment. And it's not a bad thing. Because if you think about it, your bosses, wherever they are, whoever they've been over the years, they've had different things they're doing. They evolved before they came and set up where you are working, right? So I wouldn't expect someone to just, even in education, they train you to evolve. Oh, this SS3 just graduated, their prom night, and you're clapping for them and you're so excited that they are moving. So why would you now graduate and move into a place and decide that's where they will bury you? No. Be in touch with your mind. Are you lacking inspiration? Maybe it's time to aspire to be elsewhere. Maybe it's time for you to go and harness those skills and impact where you were. Or else, by the time you leave, had I known.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is
It's
I mean, see how much mystery that is being demystified
Yeah.
about the story of Matthew. Obviously, he didn't tell us.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't make us feel like it wasn't just sacrifice for him. It was, he knew he was done.
done with this. Yeah.
And it wasn't going to matter what else you threw at it.
Yeah.
The 14 million, the 12 million, the 8 million, he was done.
Yeah.
And thank God he was done. And he knew it, because we wouldn't have had those really amazing True Detective and all. He wouldn't have come out. It was still in the bag, but he needed him to be done with the last victory.
Yeah.
We're going to go on a quick break, and because we've given the audience some really, really hard things to chew and questions to ask themselves and answers to questions they're already asking, we're going to go on a quick break, and when we're back, we'll dive into the last, the finishing touches of this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Inspiration Moment. We have been on a journey with Miss Nathalie, and she has really unraveled so much mystery, value, environment, and all. She has told us things about the journey and moving to the next stage of inspiration. And she spoke to the fact that if you're struggling with it, you're probably not done. Right? And she spoke to that experience with baking that makes you know that people need to have the cake. Right? And that's amazing. Now we're on the last segment of this show. We want to throw more light on something that came out on the table by itself. That separation, that moving to the next level, that thing about inspiration that tingles you to know, okay, we're probably done here. And you're struggling to separate from that, probably because the community you've come to meet and grown around, probably the knowledge you have about moving to the next level, maybe the whole disloyalty thing and all, or maybe you can't place your hand on exactly that next step. Maybe you've not held down that scholarship, you've not held down that next job appointment, you've not held down a next connection. So all that making it impossible to know what you're doing with this next level of inspiration. We're going to be going back to that with Miss Nathalie, and she's going to throw more light on that. So Miss Nathalie, right? So what is this thing about the inspiration moment at that point where you are done.
When you're done.
And the way organizations come at it, for someone if you're an employee, right, or if you're a career person, or if you're an entrepreneur, because for an entrepreneur it also means that you can't be done with a business, quite literally.
Yeah.
That's why in America you have selling the business, right? So you don't just shut it down, you sell it to somebody who it's meant for at that point. So we own too much of something that we forget that we are on a journey, right? And then you speak to the issue of the misrepresentation of that issue, that disloyalty thing, that all of that. So what is this?
So disloyalty, I believe disloyalty is when you're serving two masters, right? It's when you're already checked out from somewhere and you're already serving another master somewhere. Who could even be yourself. Maybe you're taking your ideas and putting in yourself. So somehow, I think anyone that doesn't want you to evolve or to move forward is not having your best interest at heart. But then the conversation has to be had. So you've decided, maybe you've put in 5, 6, maybe even 10 years working somewhere, and you've decided that you just feel a little bit stuck, and you want to test new terrain, you want to leave town, you are telling yourself that you want to. They're not calling you elsewhere. So you see, the difference is when you're being called and you are abandoning the benefits you're getting where you are and you're leaving without putting in the training they've given you into where you were trained. That is when I think that disloyalty can start. You're being poached and you're about to take all your lessons and go and put elsewhere. So disloyalty could be when you're serving two masters, or when you're poached and you're doing it in such a wicked way because you are basically running away with the skills that you've gained without serving the necessary time. So I'll take you back to what I said. You have decided within yourself that you have completed this level. That if you stay on this level, it's a stalemate for you. You've decided that you want to leave town, you want to go elsewhere and try new terrain, you probably want to start your own thing, whatever it is. So the next step is to have a conversation. This is where I am with your boss. This is where I am, and this is what I'm thinking of doing. I assure you, it's either two things. They bid you farewell, or they try to meet the expectations that you have, probably the things making you want to go there. But nobody would want you to stay back if you've come at a time when you're already dead weight. You're so frustrated, you're not doing your job, maybe you decide when you're coming to work and when you're not coming to work. They're probably going to just tell you to leave, and you realize you had no value, right? So the thing is this: you put your points across, and then they can decide to meet up with your renewed expectations because of the number of years and the effort you've put in. Maybe they want you to stay a little longer, but even that time, it's not the end. Your long-term plan is still to leave. Yes, you can deliver more till they can sufficiently replace you, but as a human being, you have to adjust. And it's even if you insist that no matter what you give me, I still want to go over somewhere else, then it should be on good terms, because you do not know when you would meet again. You don't know when or how useful this connection will be. But there are people that believe that because they want to move, everything is now, they must put everybody down, they must do that, you must shout at your boss, it's not necessary. Do you understand? So It's called separation anxiety. You're scared, you don't know how. How about you have the conversation first? And then you see where their mind is at. You might realize, maybe you still have more to give, or maybe you want to leave, but leave respectfully, in a way that if it doesn't work out there, you can always come back, right? So it's nothing, anyone that now insists that you should stay and you must continue where you are, and they're not giving you any improved value, they're not making it easier for you, then believe me, your first instinct was right. You should just leave, because it means they're not even valuing what you're putting in. It's either they're trying to boost your experience, giving you a reason to stay, or respectfully it's bye. But if they're telling you to stay, if not you're disloyal and then they get insulted, then your best bet is probably to not stay, because it tells you exactly where you're seen, and maybe you're becoming a deadweight.
Okay. Yeah, I think I want to come from this angle. You said something and it just got me thinking. So it means that people could be disloyal even to their very selves, because when you spoke about disloyalty, you said being disloyal is avoiding what you're supposed to, or kind of you're serving two masters.
Yes.
And oftentimes I've seen people who have a vision, who have a goal or dream, and they've even started putting in the work, but then they notice that it's not going as they want to. And instead of putting all their best in, they would rather go to another place or allow themselves be poached to work for another. So is that some sort of disloyalty to yourself, or how would you put disloyalty to yourself?
Especially when we're talking about your own vision, like
Vision.
you're an entrepreneur, right?
Exactly.
Was building something, and somehow, it got tough,
Yes.
and at some point, because I've seen that happen a lot. An entrepreneur is a different kind of person, right?
Yeah.
It comes with something that is not average, that's not normal. Because to build something, especially on yourself, you have to be taking a lot of risk.
Yes.
And that is also an admirable quality by people by employers. They see you, they can boldly come to poach you from your
own self.
Seeing you do your own thing.
So look at this,
by
right?
more money, by probably
Yes.
they even underrate. They speak to the fact that you don't have commensurate results to be doing all these things. Right? Why not come leave all these things
come to. So look at this. So that is a very common situation in business. Okay. Now, what is a sign of loyalty is if they're attempting to poach you, and you go to your management and say, look, this company is calling me, but I'm still choosing to stay here, and just watch their reaction. It might not be immediate, but I assure you, with time, you might start to see that they're trying to live up to better expectations, and they would appreciate your show of loyalty. Now, disloyalty will be like to pretend as if you've been treated so badly by this company and then you want to move and forget you never even brought up the fact that they were approaching you. And guess what? They'll still see you there one day immediately. And because of the timeline is so short, they'll know you were poached. So it's only right to, like I said, have the conversation. Look, I'm burnt out. My life feels like it's time to change. I want to move. And by the way, these people are calling me, and just hear from your boss. Because that's what they call the interview before the person leaves. It's like a post-mortem, so to speak. And maybe you can resolve to stay where you are. Maybe they're going to increase your benefits. Or you can decide they can let you go and you move on.
So if I have to fit what you just described now for an entrepreneur, it means having that conversation with yourself.
So now, not with yourself. Look, you see, so if you decide you're tired of 9 to 5 and you want to go back to your business.
No. We're talking about
from your business.
Okay.
You're being poached back into 9 to 5.
Into 9 to 5.
Because your vision maybe is not struggling, or is not yet where you had imagined it, and there are no commensurate results for the sacrifices you are bringing to the table. So is that disloyalty to your vision?
It's
to
not
yourself?
It's not.
If you allow yourself to be poached
back
by somebody
into 9 to 5
who has better money, better.
So let me put this here. It's not disloyalty to yourself, because it's you. That business is yours. You can go back to it in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years. But what you can't explain is why between year 1 and year 10, you can't explain to whomever it is you want to work for what you are doing. Professionally speaking, I bake cakes. If in 10 years I decide I want to retire, no, let me say in 30 years I want to retire, my bakery is there now. It's to pull out the oven and the flour, probably buy new flour. But what I cannot do when I retire, when I'm over 60, is decide I suddenly want to go and work for maybe just come back to AFIA TV and start working again on it. Because a lot of time they expected me to retire. So I think it's not disloyalty to yourself. No. It's actually a lack of wisdom to think you don't need to learn more. Do you understand? Because you can actually now work with a schedule that allows you to continue with your private business while you do the 9 to 5, right? It's not disloyalty to yourself. It's disloyalty to yourself if you decide that forever and ever, till the day you are buried, you continue to do that 9 to 5. That's why I said at the beginning, you need to know when to end it and when to now prioritize either your own business, whatever the field is, or to move to the next stage. But don't give up a good opportunity because you feel you've arrived. You've not even built enough experience or clout yet to even do that thing you want to do. You can go back to it later, because every time you are getting more clients, you're learning more, you're getting more experience. So that dream is being fed every day, right? It's not disloyalty to yourself. It's a wise decision to continue to learn, because that business, that skill is always going to be with you.
All right, let's make a pivot now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's speak to the highlights of your inspiration moment.
Mm-hmm.
You've had fantastic experiences, achievements. You've
Mm-hmm.
interviewed the governor several times,
Mm-hmm.
and you've had guests of all kinds. Right, let's speak to the highlights. We'll be speaking to the discipline, the mindset, the commitment, the challenges of inspiration. I think Julius wants to hear the highlights of inspiration because, I mean, if Matthew did not do True Detective, he probably won't be the one talking to us in that video. Right? So we want to know what are the highlights? I mean, what was that highlight for you? Because the last highlight you keep going back, that in the last stage of this journey was getting to that point where the cake was the cake.
The cake was delivered. So beyond the delivery of the cake. Now, since we're looking at the wedding, just imagine that beautiful cake, wedding cake, whatever flavor. We also didn't look at the feedback, the reaction. Did the couple say, "What nonsense"? Or did they say, "This is the most beautiful cake I've ever seen"? Now, the inspiration moment for me was the day I walked into a restaurant and I was introduced by an interview I had conducted with someone. That was when I saw the feedback, the impact. That sometimes as a journalist, interviews introduce you. They say, "Oh, I remember you, Nathalie, you interviewed this person." And I'm like, mind blown. That you can sit with someone and have a chat. You can have somebody here and all of a sudden, you have gone from ground 0 to ground 100. That interview has introduced you. In your mind at that point, number one, you are made at that moment. So what inspired me then was that we were being seen, we were making an impact, we were being heard. Because there's nothing more mind-numbing or uninspirational than thinking no one is listening to what you're saying, than thinking that you are not inspiring anyone, that there's no one cares about what you're doing. That's what leads to demotivation. But when you, for instance, you direct a movie or you shoot, you're a cameraman, you shoot something, and someone says, "You are the one that shot that, it was you." And you realize that, wow, so someone actually was somewhere enjoying this. So the inspiration moment for me that made me realize, I think I've been doing it for a while longer, was when that interview introduced me to someone I never would have thought would have watched it. So I think now back to the general story, because not everybody is a broadcaster, but your inspiration moment should be taken from how people are reacting to what you're doing.
Oh, right.
How much are they appreciating what you're doing? If you're getting more of condemnations and there's no appreciation, my dear, maybe it's time to see where you can make better impact, where you can make more impact. Maybe you're outdated. Maybe you are insisting that people must continue to use stamp when they're using digital signature, and you continue to make stamp. Stop forcing your way on people. Evolve. And then maybe somebody will say, "Hey, this software is the best software I've used. I think I'm going to tell my friends about it." And you see yourself being inspired to make more designs and more templates for them to use. But don't be so stubborn that you are like this and nah.
Now that's
Wow. That's
I mean, this is a premium course.
yeah. Yeah.
We are expressing Tony Robbins.
I'm telling you.
We are. This is
a clear one.
Amazing. Now we are down to the last few minutes, and I wanted to ask, because you still didn't tell us your highlights apart from the feedback. You still didn't tell us that, but we're down to the last few minutes of the show. We want you to talk to the audience and tell them about, advise them, tell them something. You can give them a summary of what this has become, right? Or what you feel they should pay. I think we are in 2026, and this is a year that is still unfolding, and there's a lot of anxiety all over the world with the war and Nigeria, and then a lot. We would like for you to speak to them in 1 minute so we can bring the show to an end.
You're asking me to do a monologue. Okay, so what I would say is this. Sometimes you may be doing the best you can. Maybe you're not being seen, you're not being heard, and you feel like it's time to give up. This is not do it a day longer, do it 2 days longer, do it a week longer, heck, do it for a year or two longer. The moment, as far as you are doing what is right and you're staying the course, and you have the right support system, feed into the energy. One day, that thing you're doing, as long as you continue to exercise those muscles, you continue to improve. Maybe you do analog things, you're starting to evolve to digital, you just continue to stay the course. One day, that thing you're doing would introduce you. And make sure you come back and give me my consultancy fee.
All right, thank you so much for this, Miss Nathalie. This has been a wonderful experience. This was much more than I have imagined, and that speaks to inspiration.
Yeah.
There's always that cream de la cream that meets your effort, and you're like, okay, I didn't see that, right? I'm very grateful for your time. I'm very grateful for what you have to tell us from your inspiration moment. You're one of those Hall of Fame
Thank you.
individuals who today is lighting the world of people who are watching, right? I've watched people like LeBron James and the late basketballer that died. I'm trying to remember his name, right? And inspired Kobe Bryant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are spoken to inspiration and all. And today we're taking it from Nigeria, from Africa, from Enugu, from our AFIA TV, right, to the world. And it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Moxie. Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Joseph, do you have anything to key in?
I think it's been a serious learning season for me. Thank you, Ms. Nathalie, for doing what you did. Like, all your stories have said so many things. And one of the things I think I'm taking with me is that no matter what you're doing, if you need to stop at some point to go and get further experience that will come help you with whatever you're doing, feel free to pause. Feel free to go and get another exposure, learn from someone, get to know what they're doing, even if it means going from your job to a 9-to-5 for a season, so as you can understand what the books are, so as to understand what coordination is. Do it, as long as it helps you to achieve your goal at the long run. The only place where you are dead is when you put it, you close it, and it's done for. But if you know that everything I'm doing is a means to an end, then automatically you're still winning at the end of the day.
Thank you, Joseph.
All right, thank you so much to you, the viewer, who have been amazed to have you with us. And it's such an honor, right? We don't take this for granted. And we hope that we've contributed to your inspiration moment, we've added to your joy, we have brought light to the darkness surrounding your journey. And we hope you leave us feedback. You go to AFIA TV, social media platforms, and drop the comment, drop there, and share the video and all. We're so grateful for your time. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye for now.